my favorite thing to do is to teach a kid to find their own way of learning and a passion for whatever they want. I tell people that I can play anything. I'm going to get emotional.
Okay, welcome Kate Easton.
Hi.
You're now on Alexey Music Podcast. So it's already episode number 9, I believe. Welcome to our show. Can you introduce yourself?
Hi, I'm Kate Easton. Thank you so much for having me. I am from Milwaukee, Wisconsin, in the United States. I am a middle school music teacher, so I teach band and I teach some other inclusive music classes for special needs kids. During COVID, I've been kind of quarantined by myself, so I've been missing music so much. I created a YouTube channel to keep my students excited about music, and it's been getting a lot of fans. So I've been kind of moving forward in that direction to make sure that my students stay excited and I can have some fun when we're all alone during this weird time.
Okay, good for you. Tell us about the beginning of your musical path.
When I was about 9 years old, so my mom plays French horn, and I saw a drum and bugle corps show, which is like kind of a crazy version of marching band that just has bugles and drums and color guard. And I just remember like their sound and their power just like gave me the chills, and I was just so excited about music. And then when I was in fourth grade, I started playing the trumpet. And then I just started picking them up along the way. In middle school, I had a lot of friends quit their instruments just because of um, maybe a teacher they didn't like or a situation they didn't like. And that's when I decided that I was going to be a music teacher and make sure that nobody would ever quit music because of something negative from somebody else, and just kind of promote my passion for music through teaching kids. And so then I marched in a drum and bugle corps when I was 13 until I was 18, touring all over the United States. I performed in every single continental United States. So that means not Alaska and Hawaii, before I was 18. And then I went on to college to become a music educator, got 2 degrees in music education, and now I'm working on my master's.
All right. How many instruments do you play now?
So I get asked that question a lot. I tell people that I can play anything, because when you start learning instruments, it's I like math, so it's kind of like a music theory math thing for me. So I can pick up any instrument. If I can play Mary Had a Little Lamb and Old MacDonald Had a Farm, then I pretty much can figure out that instrument. So I actually am always seeking new instruments and then learning how to play them. But I would say, oof, just right in front of me, I was counting the other day, there's like at least 95 strings on all the different instruments. But I have at least one of almost every single band instrument, and just like all these goofy toy instruments that I come across, I'm always collecting. So I have 2 giant bins in the basement of storage of other instruments that I go and I dig through. I would say I have over 100 some different types of instruments, and the more unique, the better, and the more interesting they are for me. Anytime I go to a festival of any kind, that's all I do. I'm just like seeking something new. It's hard to find something I don't have.
I see. First instrument, which one was it?
Trumpet. It was trumpet when I was in fourth grade.
And you learned by ear or somebody told you? Somebody showed to you? How's that works?
The school system in Wisconsin, or actually in the United States, has some pretty strong band programs. So there would be a band teacher that would come and give us lessons like once a week in fourth and fifth grade. And then when we got to intermediate school, which is sixth through eighth grade, we had it as a class almost every day. And there were maybe 50 to 100 kids in each grade level band at my school. And as everybody got older, we all had different interests. And then towards high school, there was still a huge band program. I think my marching band had like 150 plus students in it. It was very competitive. It's just a really cool atmosphere for music education in Milwaukee.
And then you decided that you want to educate kids. Can you tell us about this?
Okay, well, my favorite thing to do is to teach a kid to find their own way of learning and a passion for whatever they want. So I try and give them that through music education by, giving them the tools for success, but not giving them all the answers. Because getting kids to figure out how to troubleshoot and problem solve is really important, and it's something that can be taught through music, and also communication and relating to each other and having an emotional connection with other people. So it's just really important to me to have all of those aspects of music for kids, because I don't expect them to be famous musicians, but I want them to get something really important out of my class. Even if they learn like righty tighty, lefty loosey, and that's all they learn from me, they've
How
learned
old are they
something.
when you teach them?
Middle school is, well, actually, I go to the elementary school and I teach fifth graders, which are usually about 10 years old. And then they come to my middle school, and then I have them from sixth, seventh, and eighth
I
grade.
think people
So
say that around 10 years old is the best age for a child because his behavior is nice. He's very curious.
it depends, yes. But, and I'm lucky because music kids, for the most part, are excited and interested about learning and are usually pretty into their instrument, and then they also, their parents are involved too, because being a musician is costly, and their parents have to be involved for something like that to be successful. So it's a nice thing to teach, because everybody kind of wants to be there.
If your students saw you on this podcast, what would you say to them?
Oh, I miss them so much. I'm gonna get emotional. So I just can't wait for the moment that we're all back in the classroom. I'm definitely gonna cry. Okay. So when we get back in the classroom and I put my hands up and we play our very first note together, and after all of this chaos and after missing them because I haven't seen them since March 13th was the last day together, we didn't get to do our final concert. We were working on all this really fun music. And, my eighth graders are now gone. I won't have them anymore. So I didn't get to do like the eighth grade ceremony stuff or thank them for all of their service to the program. I'm definitely emotional. I miss them. I want school back. I want to go back to normal, but I want everybody to be healthy and safe. So it's just tough because my life is for kids, and that's why I'm making these YouTube videos, because I'm bored and I miss them.
Okay, nice.
Why is it exciting to work with these children?
Okay, why? So there are some special needs students that I've been helping with music, and they're expressing themselves in ways that they maybe haven't been able to do before. There are some nonverbal students who sing during music
Oh,
class,
so they
or
don't
they'll be
speak, but they can actually express themselves playing. Wow, this is
yeah,
wonderful.
or I'll teach them a very simple like color coordinated song along with a video, or we're banging on the drum, and even though they don't talk or speak, you can see the response of like the connection that they're having, and it's just all about helping people feel like they're a part of something greater than themselves, and just having a connection and a community.
Tell me about your learning experience with all those instruments.
Sure. Well, honestly, I wish I would have started the piano sooner. So anytime anybody's ever interested in doing that, I always tell them to start, because the piano just teaches you so much. And when I didn't really do piano until college, and I learned so much when I started it. But I started on trumpet, and then I learned the French horn because that was just an easy transition. My mom had one. And then I started learning the saxophone. And then when I was marching and on tour, I played something called the mellophone, which is like a trumpet with a huge bell. It's like this, it's huge. And so a lot of brass instruments. And then when I got to college, they had us take a class in every single instrument. So I took a semester of flute, a semester of clarinet, and so it took a long time, but it really paid off because I can play everything now.
Yeah, I've seen.
It's fun.
So now, aside from your education job, you are now a YouTuber.
Yes, I started a YouTube channel on May 1st.
How did you get to this idea? Somebody just, told you or advised?
Well, I guess I've seen videos online before where people are playing multiple instruments and they edit it together, and I always like kind of was jealous, and I always thought it was so cool. And I knew that I could do that. I just never did. I was just too lazy or didn't have the tools or didn't think I had the tools. And so then I discovered this app on my phone called Acapella, and it allows you to record like four different ones. So the beginning of my YouTube is actually me using that Acapella app. And it's just a free app, and you can do like four different instruments or whatever. And then I figured out on my school computer, which I'm on right now, I have iMovie and a way better recording capability.
So you just record in one
So
video, right?
yeah, so I record each part separately, but I make an ear track first. So I put a bunch of information in my ear, and then I also have like I make a chart. Like I basically make a musical score for myself just to keep track of all the stuff going on because it's a lot.
You read the notes and all this stuff, right?
Yeah, so I have to kind of orchestrate the piece. So I'll look up whatever song I want to do, either a cover song or one of my originals, and I'll figure out what chords they are on probably ukulele first because that's one of my favorites. And then I transpose it to all the different instruments, and I make sure it's in a key that is successful for my voice. And then I write down all the rhythms, and yeah, it's fun. It's kind of like being a composer, but I'm just arranging music instead.
Arranging.
Yeah, so it's someone else's music that I'm interpreting myself.
Oh, I see.
What was your very first experience with YouTube? So you recorded your first video, and then what happened?
I recorded my first video and I posted on Facebook, and it got a ton of likes from all my friends and family on Facebook. It was a real big
Did
fish
you
song,
join
and
any groups or you just uploaded it?
I joined some groups a little bit later. So first, it just started with my friendship base on Facebook because I had no clue what I was doing. I was just trying to figure out how to get a following and how to get my music past my friends. How do you get it beyond your circle? So I think about a month later, I joined a couple of cover groups on Facebook. And that's when I started seeing what other people were offering and how other people were kind of navigating, and just started doing it my own way. It seems to be working pretty well.
Now tell me what your YouTube fans do not know about you.
Just to get a
Okay.
little deeper in Kate's world.
I think that people might be intimidated by me just a little bit because I am kind of loud sometimes, and I have opinions, and I try and be kind, but I am kind of blunt with things I say, and I make a lot of jokes, and I'm kind of sarcastic, and I think that that's kind of how I'm seen a lot of times. But I don't know, I feel like I'm not as confident as people think that I am. It might be like the sarcasm might just be a cover or a front because I'm really not as confident as everybody thinks. I'm really not. I wish I was, and I'm working on that. You got to fake it till you make it.
But music helps, right?
That's how I express myself musically, definitely. When I'm happy, when I'm sad, when I'm angry, and that's what I like to share with my students. I actually had a student who kind of sad, but he lost his parents and he was living with his older sister, and he was learning trumpet, and his sister told me that when he was mad, he would go grab his trumpet and he would just blast. He'd be like blah blah blah, and then it would get quieter, and then he would start playing songs, and then she'd hear him play like Twinkle Twinkle Little Star, and then he would come out of his room and he would be a little bit better. And those are the kind of tools that I'm trying to help kids get, because music really is more than just sound. It can help with so many things.
I'm sure each of your students is different, but were there any like especially special ones? The most interesting people? How many students
Um,
did
I
you already have?
If I had to add them all up, I would say I probably had over 1,000 students
Oh,
already.
that's a big number.
Yeah, but there's one that I talked to, like I just talked to today from my very first job. Um, and she is a junior in high school next year. And I started talking with her when she was started teaching her when she was in fourth grade. So her and I have a great relationship. Her whole family and I are talking all the time on Facebook. I love to follow my students' paths. I've had a lot of really cool special needs students that have had breakthroughs. I had a student in a wheelchair that we ended up getting to successfully march in a parade with us. Just those proud moments always stand out to me. There are always kids that I won't forget, but definitely from my very first job. And then the kids that always hang out in the band room after school that chat with me and we goof around on instruments and I help them learn new cool things, just for fun when they could go home, but they'd rather hang out. Those are my favorite. And I think they know who they are if they hear this.
Okay, so your current place in the music environment satisfies you, or you want something more? Well, obviously you want
I
something more.
love
Like, what's your goal? Yeah.
I would love to end up as a professor teaching middle school band to adults and helping them learn how to be the most successful middle school band director. And so I need to have a little more experience so I can learn more about that. But I would love, that's one of the reasons I'm working on my master's. I would love to teach other people to be a great middle school band director, to make sure that there are lots of really strong programs and that middle school age is just really satisfied musically is very important to me. Um, yeah, I mean, I really love being a teacher. I really love the connection with the students. I miss them.
Let's speak about creativity. Do you consider yourself a creative person? And what's the creation for you? Like, what's creativity for you?
I think I am a creative person. I really like expressing myself musically, but I also like to do artwork. So like visual art, I really am enjoying too. I'm not nearly as good as I am at music, but and also I like dancing. I'm not good at dancing, but being creative and expressing yourself is something I really enjoy. At first, I didn't think that I was being creative when I made my YouTube channel. I just thought, because I'm a band director, in my mind, one part is played by the trumpet, one part is played by the flute, clarinet, percussion, put it all together, there's a song. So when I was putting these songs together, I was like, okay, well, we need a trumpet, we need a clarinet, we need this, we need that. And so I just started recording all myself, like putting them together. And when I put them together, everybody was like, oh my gosh, what is happening right now? Like, you're playing all these instruments. That's so creative. And I was like, oh, I was just doing what a band director does.
Do you improvise a little bit with so you're not just playing note by note, right? If you take some cover.
No, I mean, a lot of it I have to figure out by ear. So I'll listen to the song and I'll be like, okay, what is the guitar doing? And I'll try and figure out what it is. A lot of it isn't perfectly accurate, but it's fun. And I even leave mistakes in my videos a lot of times because if it has to be perfect, then it won't be fun for me anymore. If someone else wants to do all the perfecting in the editing and all that stuff in their studio, I'll come and make music. That's cool. But I want it to be fun for me, and I don't want to go past that level of perfection because it doesn't really matter that much. I mean, it's not like my videos are going to be ever perfect. I'm in my apartment. So I like to improvise. I do have some of my own songs that I've written that I like every like 7 covers I do, I'll throw in one of my songs or something different. So
you're not a perfectionist.
it depends. I love cooking. When it comes to cooking, I am psycho sometimes about making sure that like my mashed potatoes are perfect.
Okay, so music-wise.
Music-wise, I think passion over perfection is 100 times more important.
So in general, what do you think the real musician, do these mistakes make him real, more interesting, or he has to train himself to be perfect?
Well, I had a really great teacher in college that said practice makes permanent. So it practice doesn't make perfect. Perfect practice makes perfect. Practice just makes permanent. So it just depends on how you're doing it to make things really great. I think that showing mistakes gives some vulnerability, and people can relate, because I really like to inspire people to think that they can play instruments. I don't want it to be perfect and have them think I'll never be that good. I want it to be interesting enough that they'll think, wow, I could do that too. So I don't think that being perfect is that important, but I know that practicing and working hard is important when you're learning an instrument. I mean, jazz is, people say has a whole bunch of wrong notes, but they can always be explained musically. You just have to know what you're talking about and move on to the next note.
Okay, very nice talking to you. I think I'm running out of time now. Thank you for coming.
Thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it. This was fun. You're awesome.
Same for you. Same to you, should I say, right? Same to you. Thank you.
Thank
Bye.
you. Have a good
Bye.
night.
You can see the detailed information about our guests and their projects in the description section of this video. If you like our project and you want to support it, please share our page on Facebook, follow us on Instagram. If you're interested in joining the project, you can send me a direct message. And thank you for watching.